The ethnic, geographical, and historical spread of base 10 is enormous, and we can say that it has become a virtually universal counting system. To be sure, base 10 has a distinct advantage over large counting units such as 60, 30, or even 20. Its magnitude is easily managed by the human mind since the number of distinct names or symbols that it requires is quite limited, and as a result, addition and multiplication tables using base 10 can be learned by rote without too much difficulty. It seems quite unrealistic to imagine that we could turn the clock back now and modify the base number of both the spoken and written number systems. The habit of counting in tens and power of 10 is so deeply ingrained in our traditions and minds as to be well high indestructible. The best thing to do was to reform the bizarre divisions of older systems of weights and measures and to replace them with a unified system founded on the all-powerful base of 10. That is precisely what was done in France in the Revolutionary period. The Convention, a form of parliament, created the metric system and imposed it on the nation by the laws of 18 Germinal Year the 3rd in the Revolutionary calendar during April 8, 1795.
If you ever counted from 0 to 9, then you've used base 10 without even knowing what it is. Base 10 is the way we assign place value to numerals. It is sometimes called the decimal system because a digit's value in a number is determined by where it lies in relation to the decimal point. Egyptian hieroglyphs dating back to 3000 BC show evidence of a decimal system. This system was handed over to Greece. Although the Greeks and Romans commonly used base 5 as well, decimal fractions first came into use in China in the 1st century BC. However, let's proceed to the commonest base in history. Here are the list of people who have used or still use a numbering system built on base 10. Amorites, Arabs, Aramids, Assyrians, Bamons, Baule, Berbers, Shan, Chinese, Egyptians, Elamites, Etruscans, Romanches, Greeks.
European systems of weight and measures were complicated and diverse in the late 18th century. Until then, they were finding a way to improve the so-called metric system. Around 1660, the Royal Society of London proposed to establish as the unit of length is the length of a pendulum that beats once per second. This idea was taken by Abbé John Picard in La Mesure de la Terre, the measurement of the earth, Christian Huygens in 1673, La Condamine in France, John Miller in England, and Jefferson in America. 1672, using the 1-second pendulum as a unit of length was abandoned because it was found out that the pendulum caused by the variation in gravity at different points on the globe. In May 8, 1790, the base unit initially chosen was the length of the pendulum beating once per second. It was proposed by Talleyrand, and the Assembly Constituante Constitutional Assembly approved the creation of a stable, simple, and uniform system of weights and measure. However, the committee decided to abandon the pendulum as the base unit, and it was by March 26, 1791. And at Borda's suggestion, the unit would be called the metre, or in Greek form measure. Until in 1792, the Meridian expedition began. A line was drawn from Dunkirk to Barcelona and measured out by the triangulation points located thanks to Borda's goniometer. And in 1983 of October 20, the 17th General Conference on Weights and Measures gave the fifth definition of meter, which is based on the speed of light in space. And also at the same conference, definition of the 5 other basic units, kilogram, Kelvin, mole, and candela, were also adopted, as well as the standards that constitute the current international standard system.
The origin of the other bases. The reason for the adoption of decimal base 20 system in some cultures can be seen by the basic idea of Aztec numbering. In the language of Aztec, the names of the first 5 numbers can be associated with the fingers of one hand. The following 5 numbers can be associated with the fingers of the other hand. Next, the 5 numbers can be associated with the toes of one foot. Last, the last 5 numbers can be associated with the toes on the other foot. And so, 20 is reached with the last toe of the second foot. Inuit, the indigenous people and the most populous ethnic group in Greenland. They commonly known as Eskimo. One remarkable fact is that Inuit use the same expression for the number 53, literally meaning of a third man, 3 on the first foot. Banda. The Banda people form the largest ethnic group in the Central African Republic. Banda people express the number 20 by saying something like a hangman, presumably because when you hang a man, you can see straight away all his fingers and toes. Maya. The Maya are a large group of indigenous people of Mesoamerica. Mayan dialects, the expression of Hanyunik, which means 20, also means one man. Malinke. West African ethnic group with an estimated global population of 11 million. Malinke express 20 and 40 by saying respectively a whole man and a bed. In other words, 2 bodies in a bed. In the light of all this, there can be no doubt at all that the origin of the decimal systems lies in the habit of counting on 10 fingers and 10 toes.